This is Robert Overholser of Lüfteknic, partnering with Idea Television on our 991 GT3 video development series. It's currently middle of the day and about 17 degrees outside, so that doesn't allow us to actually take the car outside and drive it in this type of weather. And the key thing that's keeping us from doing that is the new Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tire. So today we're actually going to take the car, put it up on the lift, and we're going to see some of the underskin, underbody parts of the car, and we're going to touch on a lot of the new technologies that's not clearly seen to the naked eye out in the parking lot. Now that we've got a lot of the paneling, bumpers, and a few other things removed, you can have access to the engine. And I wanted to point out a few of the features that you're able to see at this point, talk about some of the technologies, as well as some of the components and what they actually do. On either side of the engine bay, you'll actually see that the dynamic engine mount is present in the very same location as it was in 1965. But at this point, the dynamic engine mount is something that actually has a magnetic, viscous fluid that when energized, changes how firm it feels. Also, in the top part of the engine bay, you see this black plastic, and that's the intake manifold. And overall, there's a considerable amount of plastics and lightweight materials that are used in the engine bay. One of the new introductions is using cast parts that then are welded and screwed and bonded into the chassis. The actual portion of where the engine is mounted is welded into the chassis. The structure that actually the bumper bolts into is a cast part that's been glued into the chassis as well. In future videos, we're going to go over the process of doing some general service, how you change your drive belt, removing a wheel and tire assembly and torquing it properly, doing a full oil service, and a few other basic checks and general yearly servicing. So now that we've got the car up in the air, we've been able to take a lot of the under trays and particular wheel liners out of the way to show you how some of the components are laid out in the car. And in some cases, it's very similar throughout the GT line. Carrying through from previous generations in the layout and design, the sway bar comes through on the car in a very similar manner. There's also a considerable amount of a difference. There's cast aluminum parts. Aluminum obviously is lighter than steel, and that's why a lot of manufacturers are tending to go to manufacturing parts in such a manner. Another interesting weight-saving technique is the hollowed-out bolt heads that you can see throughout the car, which over potentially hundreds or thousands of fasteners is a substantial weight savings. We've now taken the front bumper off the 991 GT3. A couple of things that's interesting about the structure of the car is they've done a very similar extruded aluminum bumper that we saw in the rear. A sub-crash structure that's actually a little bit lower than the normal bumper. The center radiator is just right next to me, and each side of the car has got a radiator and an AC condenser over it. So there's a considerable amount of cooling capacity, and this is incrementally bigger than it was in previous generations. We hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of the 991 GT3 development series. We'd like to thank you guys again for watching, in particular to those that have been very nice to leave some very good feedback on our YouTube channel, in some of the forums, Porsche Club members, and even some of our customers. If there's specific things that you guys would like us to cover in our future series, please let us know by leaving a comment. Thanks again for watching.